According to the worldwide service, Delta Airlines serves over 160 million customers each year. Delta Airlines has been considered the largest airline for the past 2 years. Through extensive research on Delta Airlines, I, Elliott Hall, analyzed reliable publications including Wall Street Journal, McClatchy Journal, Tribune Business, and Aviation Daily, which helped enhance my presentation. I analyzed different charts and graphs demonstrating whom Delta Airlines competes with, as well as how little Delta is unionized. In this presentation, I will explain 2 external factors that have affected Delta Airlines within the past 4 years, which include competition from other U.S. airlines, as well as union strikes. You may be wondering, who is Delta Airlines' biggest competitor? American Airlines was recently the largest airlines until Delta Airlines overtook that position. Delta Airlines and American Airlines are strongly competing for gaining control of the Japan Airlines, which would help conquer the majority of the Japanese flights. This is only made possible, though, by the Open Skies Pact that was recently passed. This is where the Japan and U.S. agreed on an Open Skies Pact, which allows airlines to set their own flight fares and routes without having to worry about the government interfering. Why is it important to take over the Japan Airlines? Japan Airlines is very highly congested with traffic, which leads to large amounts of profits from Asian and Trans-Pacific routes. As you can see in the graph, this shows the amount of billions of dollars of revenue from the passenger kilometers. So for Trans-Pacific, you have close to $20 billion of revenue that you would be able to pull in just from the Trans-Pacific. In Southeast Asia, you're close to about $14 to $15 billion in revenue. Even Europe is a little more than $10 billion. So this helps explain why it would be so critical to claim possession of the Japan Airlines. Delta has tried to attempt to persuade Japan Airlines by offering a $1.02 billion funding package for Japan Airlines. This would be critical for Japan Airlines and would make Delta seem very attractive to team up with them, because currently Japan Airlines is $11.19 billion in debt. Also, Delta has offered a $300 million revenue guarantee, and finally, they've offered a $200 million in asset-backed funding. So these are all attempts to try to lure Japan Airlines to team up with Delta. But not only is Delta Airlines dealing with competition from United Airlines, they also have union strikes that have become an issue for Delta. Union strikes that have affected Delta, conflicts have arisen from unions because Delta has strongly been opposed of unionization. After Northwest recently merged with Delta, there had been a conflict of opinions because Northwest was mostly against unions. But now currently, Northwest and Delta employees have to work under separate contracts until they reach an agreement on if they want to have unions or not. As you can see in this bar chart, it shows how, compared to all other major U.S. airlines, how little unionized Delta Airlines truly is. As you can see, Delta has around 30,000 employees who are part of a union, while American Airlines, which is the second largest airlines in the country, has close to 50,000 workers who are a part of a union. Delta has strong reasons for why they do not want to have employees form unions. They feel that wage discussions as well as strikes would last longer because people would be part of a union. Delta, though, has allowed the opportunity for an election to allow their employees to decide and vote if they want to have unions or not. Though, according to the Association of Flight Attendants, they accuse Delta of interfering with the election process. They are stating that Delta has offered incentives to people to vote against unions by saying they will increase their compensation, offer them more benefits if they vote against the unions. So the Association of Flight Attendants are trying to prove that Delta has been doing this and possibly get them in trouble. This presentation reviews the competitors against Delta Airlines and union strikes that have affected Delta Airlines. In the last 4 years, Delta has been affected by major external factors. I hope you've enjoyed, in conclusion, I hope you've enjoyed my presentation and learned valuable information about a couple external factors that Delta Airlines has dealt with in the past 4 years. If there's any question or answers, I'd like to take them at this time. You, sir?
You talked about 2 external factors. I'm curious to know if there are more than 2, and if so, did you focus on any others in your report or your or decided why you maybe didn't want to put them in?
Yeah, there definitely were multiple external factors for Delta. I decided to focus on the 2, competition and unions, but in my paper I focused on lawsuits as well, which Delta has had a couple of lawsuits over the years against them. One dealt with the Delta app that they had on smartphones, and they did not have a proper privacy policy to inform the customers that their information would be secure. So they got lawsuits were brought up against them there. Also, they've had problems with employees. Employees have gotten into arguments and with their customers, and which have led to false arrests of people. So people have filed lawsuits against them. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Yes, you?
What was your reasoning behind choosing Delta and the external factors that affected Delta as opposed to any other company out there?
Well, I analyzed all of the external factors, all the other companies, and I just felt a true personal connection with Delta. I felt I've taken a bunch of flights with Delta. I felt as if I knew the most prior knowledge to Delta, and I just wanted to truthfully learn more about the company and see have they had any issues over the past years. I heard that they were merging with Northwest, but over the news, but I haven't heard much from it. So I thought that would be very attractive to talk about and research and see what has occurred for them. Are there any other questions out there? No?